All right, I'm gonna make sure everything's working here, and then I'll go over what we're doing in the stream. Let me see. Test the audio. I can't hear it. What the fuck? Ah, it's bugged. Yeah. All right, all that should be good. I don't know if anybody or any people are in here right now, but what's up, everybody? I'm gonna start in a few minutes. We have not too much to go over in this stream. I'm working on a video right now, so you know, I want to be able to go live, have some stuff to upload for the week, like VODs, and still be able to get some content to y'all. One second, shouting out the stream. Phone needs to be muted. All right, so this can go over there. Yeah, I'm currently working on 2 videos. One I mentioned in the server already. It's going to be a One Punch Man, How Strong Is God, series. And then the other one is a Halloween, but I guess like an October Halloween special. It's not gonna be power scaling related, so some people might not care for it, but it's a video I've been wanting to do for a while. But let me get the window open here so I can show y'all what we're reacting to today. We're gonna be reacting to Katatsumaki beat all the other S-Class heroes at once. This is made by the homie Satori. He made a Boros scaling video that I watched off stream. And he also does What If Boros Survived or Was a Good Guy or something like that. And he does other power scaling content too. The link for this will be in the VOD, obviously. But I'll also put it in the comment of the stream. I know today is probably a school day for most people. Why does YouTube do that? It doesn't let you like share the link properly. I don't know it does it. But I know most people are either in school or getting out of school, so this stream might not be as active as they normally are. But regardless, I promise y'all I'll stream this Tuesday, and I'm here to deliver. We'll probably be live for about an hour, and then I'm going to go work on those videos so I can have one of them out for you guys tomorrow. Outside of this reaction, I'm going to be briefly going over this Matsuki from Yume Nikki scale. I already read through the whole thing. I'm not going to go through the whole thing again on stream, but I will go over some of the basics to pretty much do like a small little update on my video I did. Other than that, I'm going to turn the music off, and we're going to just jump right into the video.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another random video on the internet. Today we shall be taking a look at a matchup that I think is quite fun. Could Tatsumaki solo the rest of the S-Class? Now obviously,
you guys want to know my opinion? I'm going to say, I'm going to say more than likely. Outside of Blast, yeah, the only win con I can see, this is off the top of my head because I'm probably not thinking of certain S-Class heroes, but the only win condition I can think of is Speed Blitz. But then there's her barriers. Yeah, no, I never mind. I don't think there's a win condition. I don't think they can beat her.
obviously Blast is not going to be included because then the answer would be pretty obvious. Another character who isn't going to be included is King, due to the fact that his luck powers would make it so that something unexpected happens and Tatsumaki would lose horribly. But if you want an answer to Tots versus all of the S-Class, well, there's your answer, she loses horribly. But now let's actually get into the matchup. Let's start with Tatsumaki and establish how strong she is, just to clear up any doubt that she is a worthy foe for all the S-Class put together. Tatsumaki is stated over and over again to be the ultimate weapon of the Hero Association, to the point that she is the reason the Hero Association has utmost confidence in the success in their Monster Association raid team.
Yeah.
And that's for good reason too. She completely
let's establish that. For whatever reason, outside of the One Punch Man verse, I feel like Tatsumaki doesn't really get the props that she deserves. I don't know why. I think my chat is bugged. Give me a second. I saw somebody say something in chat, but it's not showing from me. The fuck? There it is. Don't forget Tatsumaki tanked a punch from God and kept fighting. I don't think it was a punch. I think it was either a psychological attack, or it was the after effects of using too much energy on Saikorochi. I don't think it was like a punch. She never like physically. The God, I don't think you have to be like brought into a whole nother plane of existence to actually face God. That's what happened to Blast.
annihilates Gyoro, who is sometimes considered to be one of the stronger cadres, more on that coming soon. She bullies an amped Psychos who was stated to make Gyoro look like nothing in comparison to herself. Tatsumaki also fights Sairochi, and the only reason she takes any damage in the fight is the fact that she has to hold back constantly in order to not harm the other heroes. And the moment she is allowed to go all out, she one-shots Sairochi.
Yep.
The same Sairochi who upscales massively from Orochi, who has been calculated to reach small planet level with the Gaia cannon.
Yep.
Sairochi is that.
I'm surprised. Sorry, I'm stretching. I'm surprised people can agree that, the Monster King is small planetary. Like, I'm actually pretty shocked on that one. I feel like back when the Gaia cannon was introduced, people were like, "Oh, it's continental, it's mountain level." I'm like, didn't it shake the entire planet? And he pulled the energy from the core of the Earth. You mean that's say at least moon level, small moon level,
plus Psychos, plus God Amps. She's confident that she can beat Saitama despite having memories of the Baldy casually one-shotting the small planet-level Gaia cannon. Sairochi can also slice continents and has energy that Genos considers unmeasurable. Tatsumaki also straight up blocks one of Sairochi's beams head-on, and some people have tried to argue that this was after Tatsumaki had severed some of her energy-absorbing.
Okay, let's talk about this. I had this debate / I guess argument with this guy on Reddit. Let me move the chat over a little bit. Who sent me this versus battle wiki thread, which I will pull up right now for you guys. I want to quickly go over that because it's actually related to Tatsumaki. I kind of forgot I wanted to talk about that in this stream. While y'all wait, here's the TLDR. This guy was trying to argue that I think they were trying to argue that Saikorochi was somehow weaker than Boros' ship. I think that was the argument. I don't know what he was trying to say. He ended up responding to me and deleting the comment before I could read it. He sent me this thread that I'm going to pull up right now. Pull that joint up right now, y'all. You know, I just found the comment that he deleted. For some reason, I can see it on his Reddit, but it's not showing me it otherwise. I'm gonna pull up the thread he sent though. Unless he deleted that too. What's going on? Here it is. I'm gonna go ahead and I guess I'll reiterate my arguments and debunk it on stream just in case. There we go, I got it up. Yeah, people like to scare old Boros shit for some reason. I don't know. Because the argument is Tatsumaki was said by Murata, or Murata said that Tatsumaki couldn't bring down Boros' ship, but she could beat, Saikorochi pretty easily. So people want to argue that Boros' ship is somehow stronger, even though we watched Saikorochi slice off a portion of the planet. Boros' ship just destroyed a arguably country-sized city. Maybe continent if you want to be fun about it. But pretty much what this is saying, this is pretty much an attempt to downscale Sakurachi. The thread is pretty much saying that Sakurachi actually isn't as strong as we think, and it's all just energy pulled from other people. And that after she fires the first, you know, we're gonna call it a guy cannon. It's just guy cannon, but buffed. Once she fires her first guy cannon, it's most of that energy. So after that, she's weaker. That's what this entire thread's trying to say. Uh, Pretty much right here. Psycho doesn't scale to the full power of Sakurachi from before. Because she got smaller, which is literally just an art inconsistency. Let's just be real. And he's saying that the guy cannon that she uses for the rest of the fight isn't as strong as the first one, which they have no proof of. I went through the whole thread. I'm not going to bore you guys with all this nonsense. The easy way to debunk it is with what I said. Tatsumaki was hit dead on with the beam, meaning that she scales to the first beam. Doesn't matter. So you can't downscale her after. If she tanked the beam that cut off a piece of the planet, she now scales to it. Who cares if Sakurachi got weaker? Which they didn't. The reason why I say that they didn't is because Genos clashes with the exact same size beam after Sakurachi is damaged and weakened. Tatsumaki is able to twist up Sakurachi and the city while she herself is weakened and holding back so that, her comrades aren't hurt. And Sakurachi still can come back from that, implying that she is not weakened. The biggest argument against this all is that this has nothing to do with the energy that she's absorbing, or rather, it has nothing to do with the life forms that she's absorbing. The whole point of the roots is so that she can become the earth. She says that in the panel. This guy posted this like debunk of my debunk, and I'm going to read through that on stream. I have not seen this yet, but he deleted his comment for whatever reason. Like if I click on it, it's not here. It's literally not here. But I can see it still on his page, I guess. I think it's a bug. So we're gonna go through that. But my argument is it's a god power. We all know God's power has no limits that we know of. It's pulled, his energy is pulled from somewhere, and it seems to be limitless. So why would her beams be weaker? The entire point of the roots was for her to fuse with and become the earth, not to power her up to be stronger than Tatsumaki. She had already assumed that the power she obtained was making her stronger. It has nothing to do with her psychic power. It's purely energy based, which is all based on God power. There's no reason for her to be weaker after using one energy beam. That makes no sense. Then Homeless Emperor would be weaker after using one of his energy balls. He said, after I responded, well, he wasn't hit with a full scale beam. Was a beam wouldn't go past her, nor would it have stretched as far. Thousands of miles. Okay, so this doesn't make sense because Tatsumaki has a barrier up. The beam can hit her and go right past her and still slice behind her via the barrier. Are you saying like there should be a gap because Tatsumaki was in the way? Going past him in a wide angle. I don't get what he's trying to say. Is he trying to say that because the beam was like swiped, that she wasn't hit with the full scale? That doesn't make sense. If I swing a sword, okay, if there's a person standing between some grass and I swing a sword, I cut all the grass and then I slice that person's head and continue to cut the grass on the way out, I think they still took the full damage of the sword, my friend. I don't think the grass slowed down the damage of the blade. The blade still has its effectiveness all the way through because of how strong it is. The beam is able to slice apart continents. Tatsumaki was as such hit with this continental beam. She tanked it, unlike how my example you wouldn't. Tatsumaki is a tiny woman. The beam encompassed not only her but her surroundings, but it continually expanded until it reached the ocean, and it kept going into the slice of continent. She does scale, but only partially, accounting for a surface area. So he's saying because she is not the size of the energy beam, she doesn't scale to it. Brother, stop. You're not a power scaler. You're trying to apply like weird real world physics to anime. That's like saying that if Frieza if Frieza shoots a death beam at you, because the death beam only encompasses so much space, it can't really scale that high. Or rather, if he shoots a death beam at an ant, the ant technically speaking, if the ant doesn't die to it somehow, it's because of the surface area. The death beam actually isn't fucking planetary. It's actually only so and so strong because the ant was only grazed by it. You're not making sense. She was hit by the beam. If you get shot with a gun and you're 2 feet tall and the bullet grazes you, or rather, if you tank the bullet, you still tank the bullet. Your height and size does not change if you tank something. That doesn't make any sense. Not to also mention you proceed to contradict yourself by saying that Tatsumaki dodged Cycle's beam instead of tanking them. I didn't say that. All right, so this guy's making up stuff. Let's go read what I said. Read the thread, doesn't debunk anything. Even if she got weaker during the fight, Tatsumaki directly tanked the energy beam and dodged all the following ones after. I did not say she didn't tank it. I said she tanked the first one, dodged the rest. Now, if he's implying that if she could tank it, she shouldn't dodge it, that's not how that works. She can tank one. She can even tank two. That doesn't mean that she's going to stand there and keep letting Sakurachi slice apart the planet. She's going to fly off into the air where the beams don't make contact with the planet. If you want to look at the manga panels, we can bring up the manga panels. This guy's an idiot. I'm tired of sugarcoating things for people on Reddit who can't even stand by their arguments. This is why I don't debate on Reddit anymore. Stand by your argument, dude. You're saying all this and then you deleted it because you realized how stupid it was. I do not understand your second comment. Does it matter as to whether or not Orochi cycle energy beings were cycles, Orochis are gods? Yes, God's powers are infinite, as we know. God's energy is pulled from somewhere else. As such, Orochi does not need to absorb energy from other people to remain energy. What do you want to call it? Energy efficient, I guess. I don't fucking know. Like I said, compared to Homer's Emperor. Homer's Emperor, after gaining God Amps, has an infinite amount of power, allegedly. Why would Orochi lose her power after using one beam? Doesn't make sense. So he doesn't know what he's talking about yet again. The third round is a appeal of tradition. What the fuck is an appeal of tradition? My boy. Okay, y'all just be making stuff up now. Appeal to... Okay, maybe he explained it. Let me read the whole thing. When did Sakurachi use a beam the same size as a constant slicing one? When Genos used his spiraling thunder drill cannon, which you talk about down here. We'll get to that. Yeah, it does. You're stupid. You're being dumb. If it's drawn the same way, it doesn't imply it's equally as powerful. Okay. So when we say Saitama charge up a serious punch and it says the word serious on screen, it's not a stronger variant of his normal punch. Like what? Obviously, the serious punch varies in strength, but the point is we know what the attack is based on how it looks. I kind of get what he's saying. He kind of makes sense, but the entire argument is based on this attack is weaker because Sakurachi was damaged. When there is no proof that the attack was weaker because no one was made contact with it, or they didn't make contact with anything because Tatsumaki prevented that. There's more proof that the attack is consistent than there is that it's not, is the point I'm trying to make. And you could prove that by saying that the attack appears the same, doesn't look any smaller, doesn't look any weaker, since he's trying to appeal that Sakurachi being smaller means she's weaker. Okay, the beam isn't smaller. He doesn't say anything about it being weaker. She just said it's a frontal clash. I mean, I don't know what he's trying to prove there. He's not shooting her with a power he very much comprehends and whose scale he is directly aware of, as it is nowhere near comparable. You never stop to wonder why that is. Well, here's the funny thing about this. This is kind of hard to debunk because it's the word of the author. And I don't want to pull the author doesn't know what they're talking about. But I'm going to say this. Does anyone concede that Genos is meteor level, giant meteor level during the Monster Association arc? A giant meteor would probably be the size of like a mountain, maybe an island. So I'm going to leave that. If you want to go off narrative implications, sure. If you want to go off power scaling, which is what you're attempting to do here, then no. Genos simply is, I suppose he'd be underestimating himself. The Thunder Drill Cannon is not, he's using his 20% mode, I believe, or 20-second mode. He shouldn't be as weak as he was when he blew up like a mountain or so. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really make much sense. I can't debunk this last part. However, it is not enough to say that Sakorochi is weaker than she was before. As such, Tatsumaki is as strong as she always has been. Went off on a long little tangent there, but yeah, Cosmic Ender. Let's stick to whatever you normally do on Reddit. Power scaling isn't really your forte. The moment you bring up a versus battle wiki thread that has no accolades, and I know appeal to authority, not appeal to popularity, dude. You know, the scaling in the thread has not even been confirmed or attempted to be confirmed by anyone because it's complete and utter horse shit. It's an attempt at a debunk and it fails miserably. Back to the video.
Roots to make Sairochi weaker. But the thing is, if you reread the fight, Tatsumaki disguises herself as energy and goes through the roots inside Sairochi's barrier. Then she attacks Sairochi directly, not the roots. You can see that Sairochi's body is still connected to the roots just fine, and that she is...
There's also that. Thank you, Satori. Thank you, Satori, for pointing this out for me, because I actually didn't remember that. I let that slide. So Tatsumaki did not go directly for the roots. She went for Sairochi directly.
Still taking an energy. The roots are all still there. Tatsumaki specifically only destroys the roots after some more combat, and Sairochi even comments on it later herself. So with that established, Tatsumaki casually blocked a beam that should be massively above small planet level, and she does this twice. Once with an invisible...
There's also that. Tatsumaki blocked the beam that was the exact same size as the original one. So bro's little argument of the beam looks smaller. Well, it doesn't matter if the beam looks smaller. That's also... Bro wasn't arguing my point and then tried to tell me I was wrong and then tried to use my own argument against me.
Barrier, and once without even putting up a full barrier. When Sairochi launches her first beam, Tatsumaki is taken completely by surprise and she isn't shown putting up any barriers before the beam fires. Next time we see her, she's got a little bit of damage on her and her clothes are torn up. That means that she likely didn't dodge the beam but simply took it head on. And we know she can block those beams with her barriers, so here she probably didn't have time to put up any, and that's why she took damage. I'm not suggesting that Tatsumaki's skin has planet-level durability though. Tatsumaki pretty much has three types of barriers from what I can tell. One is a clearly visible sphere around her, one that is invisible, and she also has a third type, which is basically just energy enveloping her body when she fights. We see it drawn numerous times, and she basically has this on by default whenever she's battling.
That might just be to signify that she's flying or using psychic energy. I think it would be fine to say she has planet-level skin durability. It sounds insane when you say it, obviously, but you have to remember we have shows like Dragon Ball where, like, they have fucking universal skin durability. Like, come on, don't be embarrassed to say
it. This is also the barrier shown when Tatsumaki takes the continent.
I think it just means she's using psychic energy or she's flying.
Just this passive barrier Tatsumaki has around herself at all times in battle is quite literally planet level. Just to clarify, it's not drawn every single panel. In some panels it's on and in some it's off. But I presume that's because it would be annoying to draw it in every single panel. I don't think it's meant to be Tatsumaki turning it on and off constantly either, as in the same scenes and sequences she's shown with and without it.
Yeah, 20-second
I think it's just an artistic choice on Murata's part.
I think him saying she's
not actually relevant to the matchup.
Is just hyperbole.
Overall, Tatsumaki is considered to be somewhat of a walking calamity, able to output enough force to one-shot above dragon-level threats, and having barriers that can tank planet-busting attacks with ease. The only thing she really lacks is speed feats, and several S-class heroes far outclass her in that department. Speaking of which, let's take a look at Tatsumaki's competition here and see if they can stand up to her. I'm pretty sure I don't need to prove that Puri, Tanked Up Master, and Pig God are non-factors here. They all scale far below Gums and Fury Ugly and get packed up instantly by Tots. Watchdog Man is a complete unknown right now.
might as well
Only
just
thing
take
we
him out
can
the
say
video.
is that he's the sole protector of a city and he wasn't able to kill a hero, Hunter Garo, before he could escape the city. So, yeah, Watchdog Man is not doing much here, I'm sorry. Zombie Man can just be launched into space. Drive Knight's best feats come from killing one of the weakest cadres and fighting an extremely nerfed version of Sairochi.
Yep, he's
Meanwhile,
overhyped.
Tatsumaki bodied
Drive Knight
full-power
is one of the most
Sairochi.
overhyped characters.
Child Emperor is smart, but his best attack, the Millennium Emperor Nova, doesn't match up to Sairochi's continent-slicing beams at all, which Tatsumaki blocked and/or survived on 2 separate occasions. Brave Giant would really only be a big target, and if the Esper can crush Sairochi, the robot definitely wouldn't hold. Child Emperor also specifically brought Brave Giant to fight Orochi, and then after seeing what Orochi did to one of Metal Knight's drones, he was like, nah, I'm not fighting that thing. So yeah,
That is what
Orochi
happened.
could scare Child Emperor, meanwhile an amped version of Orochi is terrified of Tatsumaki. Speaking of Metal Knight, he is a complete mystery at this point. His implied arsenal is probably extremely OP, but we just haven't seen it yet, and Tatsumaki has the power and scale to wipe out armies of drones with utter ease.
Yep.
Boy might have some crazy
Meteor
Boros
drop
level
on him.
cyborg lying around somewhere, but until we actually see it, we cannot say he does. People argue that the Hero Association is wary of Metal Knight as a threat, despite knowing that they have Tatsumaki at their disposal, but the thing is, Tatsumaki had never gone all out before the Sairochi battle. All the heroes know of her is her suppressed state, so none of their statements about Metal Knight possibly being a threat would apply to full-power Tatsumaki. Not to mention that Metal Knight could still do plenty of damage, even if he was weaker than Tatsumaki. I mean, with his arsenal, he could cause massive collateral damage, so he's definitely still a threat, even if
Yeah,
he's below
just
one of their
not-
heroes, you know?
He's just not a threat to Tatsumaki.
Another Metal Knight is that Child Emperor was terrified of Orochi the moment he found out what he was able to do to just one of Metal Knight's drones. So maybe you could argue Metal Knight's drones are on par with or superior to Brave Giant, which is certainly impressive, but even then Orochi was able to overcome the drone's durability with basic horn attacks, so Tatsumaki would have no trouble one-shotting swarms of them. There's also this one statement from Child Emperor claiming that Metal Knight possesses firepower beyond anything that any lone hero can pull off, which does sound impressive, but you have to remember Child Emperor hasn't actually seen Tatsumaki at full power either.
No. And
He
also,
has
come on.
only witnessed the very end of her battle with Sairochi, and you also can argue that he wouldn't
Wasn't that
know the
statement before the
potency
fight
of
anyway?
Tatsumaki's attacks, so really he would only be basing it off scale. So at best you can argue this statement puts the scale of Metal Knight's attacks above the giant drill that Tatsumaki made, but it wouldn't scale Metal Knight to or above Tatsumaki's attack potency or defense. One flick of Tatsumaki's wrist would be more than enough to wipe out everything we've seen from Metal Knight so far times 100. Moving on, Darkshine is a pillar of the Hero Association, but he's just got nothing on Tatsumaki. His durability and strength are at absolute best above base Orochi based off some author statements. Tatsumaki destroyed a much stronger Orochi, and she can block Sairochi's beams, so Darkshine is
And I
not
believe
breaking
Darkshine
through
was
her
also
barriers
scared of
anytime soon.
Tatsumaki.
And he
Yeah.
also does not have the speed feats to be able to blitz her or anything like that. He would be crushed or, at worst, thrown out into space, but more likely he'd just be crushed. Next up, we have Genos, who is certainly one of the most impressive S-Class heroes, and one of the only ones who can actually somewhat match Tatsumaki's AP. He should be relative to Tatsumaki in speed, and his full power beams can match Sairochi's, but Tatsumaki can react to and block those beams as we've seen.
Yeah. So I
and
don't.
Genos can only act at full power
Genos
for so long.
is strong, but he's not
His
there yet.
durability is also lesser than his attack potency with the energy beams, so he is definitely getting crushed by Tatsumaki. The next few heroes are all in the same boat in the sense that they are all way faster than anything Tatsumaki has shown, but their attack potency and durability is way lower than hers is. First up is Atomic Samurai, who is considered to be one of the stronger S-Class heroes by Darkshine, and with the Sunblade can overcome Golden S's durability. However, Golden S is at absolute best multi-continental. Tatsumaki still scales multiple tiers above that,
Might be a little too
so
high
there
for
is
Golden
no
S.
way Atomic, with what we've seen from
I
him
put
thus
him at,
far,
like,
could slice through
mountain.
her barriers. His speed is also impressive as he was able to cut Golden S multiple times, but
Mountain to
Golden S
island.
was also able to intercept his attack from a distance, so they should be around relative in speed most likely. Silverfang is capable of fighting Sleeping Garo, who is using the Exploding Heart of Lee's Fist, which pushes the body to its limits. So Garo was definitely going all out against Bang in terms of sheer stats, and Bang was able to keep up. Later, Garo goes on to wake up and fight Flashy Flash and Platinum S. I won't be getting into Flash vs Bang here, that's not the point of the video, but for this I'll say that if Garo was even half as fast when he fought Bang as he was when he fought Flash, then Bang is still massively faster than Tatsumaki. The same applies to Flashy Flash. However, both of these guys have nowhere near enough attack potency to break through any of Tatsumaki's barriers once again. Last up, we have Metal Bat, and he is in a weird spot. His scaling is some of the most ridiculous and inconsistent stuff in the entire series, and if you want my thoughts on him, I would suggest checking out this video, where I express some of my complaints with him and why his scaling doesn't make a lick of sense. But for this video, we shall be giving him the benefit of the doubt, as he really needs it in order to be relevant here. So Metal Bat's speed, if you take his feat seriously, is insane. He's able to keep up with Garo, who just blitzed Platinum S, who just bullied Flashy Flash. And his attack potency is also really impressive, as he is able to crack Sage Centipede's outer shell. However, Sage Centipede's scaling only goes up to about small planet level, something which Tatsumaki definitely scales far above. I've talked about Sage in this video also, so feel free to check it out if you're interested.
Bro, it's plugging.
But regardless, most of this is when Metal Bat is insanely amped by Garo.
Yeah.
Although his speed and pace does debatably scale to late monster Garo, which is insane as he's keeping up with him even before really getting pumped up, which again is absolutely ridiculous.
Well,
but
not really, because you would have to assume Garo's going full speed in like that panel.
Bat is in
Garo,
like which is
panel, like
Garo. Although his speed,
yeah, I don't even think this would be like max speed, because you don't need to be fast when dealing with this motherfucker. Unless you're implying, is this when he's going to attack the ship? Then I guess. But I feel like you wouldn't need to go as fast as you would have to go versus Platinum S. So I don't.
Speed and pace does debatably scale to
Watchdog
late
Man.
monster Garo,
Watchdog Man is featless. I mean,
which is insane.
I would say Watchdog Man is in the same place as Saitama. That's the featless part, but where this character is so hyped, but we just have not seen what they can really do at full power.
Them even before really getting pumped up, which again is absolutely
That's why I refuse
ridiculous.
to do a video on Watchdog Man until
for
we
this
get
video, we're just giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Bro.
So with all that established,
That's what we've seen so far, is that Watchdog Man is unknown in terms of his full power. He has yet to show it, and that he can handle dragon level threats with almost as much ease as Tatsumaki.
How does this fight go? Even if all these guys team up and attack Tatsumaki all at once, one hand swipe from the Esper will wipe them all out. Her attack potency is orders of magnitude above anything at their disposal, and she can twist their heads off whenever she pleases.
Pretty much.
Even if you argue people like Flash and Metal Bat are too fast for her to catch, she can always just increase the gravity around the battlefield to such a level that they're all pinned to the ground and crushed, or just unable to move. She can also create a massive barrier that encompasses the entire battlefield, and then just shrink it until she crushes all the heroes inside of it, and so on. Yep. Tatsumaki has several ways to kill every single S-Class, no problem. However, some of the heroes are definitely a lot faster than her, to the point that you can easily make the case for them blitzing her. If the battle starts out and, say, Flashy Flash instantly blitzes over to her and chops her head off, the S-Class would win.
That wouldn't happen though.
But one thing to counteract this is that Tatsumaki always fights with an aura.
Under his argument, she has a passive barrier at all times. I think Tatsumaki just is as durable as the attack she tanks when she doesn't have her barrier up. But whatever. Either way, this like, you know, speed blitz wouldn't really matter. It'd be like the weakest version of the Flash versus like the strongest version of Goku. We don't have any infinite speed Goku shit yet, but you can get some of the weakest, fastest versions of Flash and put him versus Goku, and if he can't hurt Goku, then what's the fucking point? It's just an example, by the way. I'm not familiar in fucking high tier Goku scaling or high tier DC scaling. I'm just giving an example. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I don't think Flashy Flash is cutting off Tatsumaki's head. Barrier
Round
up,
her.
barrier down.
I spoke about this before. Whenever she's in combat, she has a skin-tight shield passively active. That shield can take the full force of Sairochi's planet-level beam head-on, and while a tiny portion of the energy was able to slip through and damage her clothing, overall Tatsumaki was completely fine afterwards. Flashy Flash's sword would snap on impact on some Phaeton vs Zazan energy. Bang would break his wrist trying to punch the barrier.
Probably.
Metal Bat's arms would probably snap off if you put all this force into swinging at the shield. It's just not looking good for the S-Class if the shield is on.
He didn't talk about King.
In the end, I believe what this battle comes down to is how fast the barrier forms around her when the battle starts. If it appears instantly, it's over. None of the S-Class can break through no matter what. But if Tatsumaki takes even a little bit of time to activate it, Flash, Metal Bat, Bang, and arguably Atomic all have the speed necessary to blitz over to her and attack her while she's still unguarded. One might argue that Tatsu is cocky and she wouldn't put up the barrier right away, but the barrier is by default always on when she enters any battle. So I guess it really just depends on if she enters the fight battle ready or not. Like, if all the heroes are on an open battlefield and there's a countdown to the battle, if Tatsumaki is allowed to activate her barrier before the bell rings, or even just at the moment it rings, then none of the heroes can really touch her. And then, if the battle takes place in a similar setting to, say, the Monster Association raid and Tatsumaki flies into a base to kill all the S-Class heroes, that's it, she's got a barrier active and the fight is over. She's battle ready.
I would say there's no reason to.
But if it's the opposite and Tatsumaki is not ready and doesn't start the battle out already in a barrier, there's definitely a good chance she could get blitzed and one-shotted. Her base durability without any shields can be overcome by people like Black Ass.
Alright, so let's talk about this. So, the reason why I don't agree with this, under the argument that her barriers, or rather that aura she has, is not a barrier at all times. Because, you know, Tatsumaki has the bubble, and then she has the aura. I think the aura just means she's using psychic power, or she's flying. I could be wrong. There might be something. I might be able to go through and see some inconsistencies with that. But I feel like every time she has that barrier, she's using, or that aura, she's using psychic power or she's flying. The reason why she's not here, obviously we don't see it, is because at this point in time, she had already fucking used, like, I would say probably like 80% of her power. She had fought Sairochi through multiple injuries, saved all of the heroes, pretty much killed Sairochi twice, I think. And then she still had a rage amp when she figured Fubuki was injured. So you could argue at this point she just did not have enough energy to tank this type of attack, with or without the barriers, because obviously without the psychic energy she can't guard herself. Or under the argument that she is as durable as the attacks with or without barriers, she just wouldn't have that durability right now after using all her energy fighting Sairochi. But she did get fucked up in that fight. That fight, although she was obviously way stronger, she was trying to not only hold back, but also keep all the heroes below her protected as long as possible, so she could go all out, quote unquote. We still kind of haven't seen full power Tatsumaki, just because we know she was focused on keeping everybody safe. Even still, is she even? I don't think you could argue she's even being damaged here. Just as
without any shields can be overcome by people like Black Ass.
Unable to get free.
Granted, Tatsumaki was greatly weakened, but her skill really shouldn't be any less.
Yeah, so there you go. It's just the fact that she doesn't have any psychic power. You could presume that as she weakens psychically, her durability goes down
for
as
it.
well.
So many of the S-Class could definitely one-shot her. Starting distance is also a factor here when determining whether or not Tots could put up the barrier quickly enough to not get blitzed.
To have any durability.
There are also a few arguments I can think of for Metal Knight, specifically using poison gas, radiation, or maybe some
her barriers would keep out the poison. We've seen her barriers block smoke.
But again, we just don't know if he has something like that, and radiation or gas would take too long to reach Tatsumaki. Again, one swipe of her hand and the entire...
Yeah, I actually agree with this video. I don't think anybody in the S-Class could take her, even as a group. People are like, well, what if they all work together? This is the type of opponent where if you work together, it actually makes it worse for you. Tatsumaki could open up a fucking cavern below them as they're charging at her, and half the S class will fall in because they have no type of way of escaping that. The other half, she could just lift up a mountain and just slam it on them. Like, is there anybody in the S class that has above like mountain to like not even like above large mountain level durability? I don't think there is, aside from Tatsumaki. Like, I guess you could say Flashy Flash since he took hits from Garrow and Platinum S. So I guess maybe Bang, but that's about it. So I don't see a way that they're beating her even under the best circumstances. But moving on, I wanted to talk about this thread that was sent to me by one of my subscribers. They had found my Yume Nikki power scaling video. Haven't seen it. It's on my channel in one of the playlists. If you don't know what Yume Nikki is, it's the game that inspired Undertale and Omori, if you heard of those two games. Still has a very thriving fan base to this day, insanely. The game's made in 2004. I scaled Madatsuki, the main character in the game, to universal, to low multi. However, this scale using some things I actually missed in the novels, as well as some characterization and terms used in not only IRL theories, but the games and the supposed sequel, which would imply that Madatsuki doesn't. Spoiler alert, if you have not played Yume Nikki, spoiler alert one more time, implies that Madatsuki did not die at the end of the game, meaning that it confirms that, oh shit, it confirms that her dreams are layered, like layered realities type shit. Watchdog Man, if you're asking about what I think about Watchdog Man in terms of One Punch Man, what I think he'd be able to do versus Tatsumaki, nothing. Like I said, man, he had a bonus chapter where it was implied that we just don't know his full power. That's all we have for him. And that he could defeat dragon level threats with ease, which is better than, I would say, half the S class. The real question is, how would he reach Tatsumaki? She fights in the air. She flies. How would he reach her? He's gonna like bounce off of the oxygen on some Baki shit. Like, just imagine yourself as a bird. I just don't see any way of him ever hitting her. Like, it's just he's not getting up there. But in regards to this, I will briefly go over this because it is very detailed and there's a lot of terminology. I'm glad I read it before stream because I would have had to put y'all through that and it would have been very confusing. But essentially, in Yume Nikki, yep, it's your blog. In Yume Nikki, you have multiple, I guess I would like to call them, based on what I read, layers to not only dreams but also reality. Obviously reading. Okay, that was weird. Okay. That was weird. I think the stream is good. What the fuck? Yeah, I think the stream is good now. That was weird. It's like, all right, I think we're good. All right, that was weird. All right, they don't want me to go over this blog. But the TLDR on this is that due to it pretty much having an infinitely repeating layer of dreams within dreams within dreams, implied by Madatsuki saying that you could pretty much go to bed or go to bed in the false reality, because we know it's a false reality because I believe at the end of Yume Nikki, like I said, she dies but doesn't really, because we have a sequel. You can pretty much not only go from this false reality, which would of course encompass our entire world, which is universal, but go to sleep in this dream or this false reality and then sleep again. And considering the dream world, the Nexus dream world contains dreams that are infinite in some, or have some that have cosmology, you could pretty much continuously go through layers upon layers of existence, different dreams with different celestial bodies, different infinite verses, and just continue down that rabbit hole infinitely. And considering Madatsuki seems to be our prime candidate for doing that, and somebody who has experienced it in the novel, because, you know, otherwise she wouldn't be able to tell us about it if she never experienced it. She would have to pretty much be, I believe it's metaversal. I don't think it's omniversal, is it? Let's see. Yeah. So she would have to be like metaverse level. Um, so it pretty much goes back to what I was saying. Let's look at the versus battle term. I know everybody has their different terminology. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think it's outer versal is the term I prefer. Um, only reason I say that is because when you say metaverse now, people think of Facebook, sadly. So I'm gonna go with outer versal, which would make sense. Uh, so my video is a bit outdated going by that logic. But this thread was really good. I'm going to, of course, link it in the VOD. I'm going to link it on stream. If you guys are unfamiliar with like dimensional scaling and stuff, I think this would be a good place to start to, you know, go about learning about how to do that. I was doing that thing where it doesn't let me link it properly. Give me a second. I don't know why it does that. There we go. But yeah, I do have a video I want to do where I continue my how to power scale series, and I go over how to scale dimensions and infinite aleph, all that good stuff. It's a really weird topic to really talk about. It's something better learned, but I'm gonna attempt to in the future. But yeah, I don't think anybody else sadly really cares that much about Yume Nikki power scaling. It's funny because the game has so many different theories, but it's not really a big power scaling scene for it. Let me turn the music back on. But I do think this is a really good blog. I read through it twice just to really get a grasp on it. But I do, I mean, I pretty much completely agree that it does make sense. Going based on the novel, which you can correlate to the game's canon just because of the similarities, it would imply that Manasuki is outerversal, which would then prove my point that she solos most of fiction. Definitely a character you wouldn't expect to do so, but that makes it even better. I'm gonna be real. I think that's all I have for this stream. There's not that many people here today, probably because it's a school day. Everybody's in school, and I also went live a little earlier than usual, and I didn't warn anybody. But I figured I would do that today, just so that I can get back into that consistency. I've been really busy with work. They put me on full time now. I'm working 10 hours a day, 4 days a week. Actually, no, this week it is 11 hours a day, 4 days a week. So I'm gonna be very busy. I currently am living at 2 houses. I live with my girlfriend on work days because we work together. I'm over here like doxing myself, but I don't think it matters too much. I live with my girlfriend on work days because we work together, and then of course I come home where my computer is and my setup to record videos. But I only am here for about a day and a half. This is pretty much my only full day at home. It's Tuesday, so I not only have to go live, but I have to record videos, which is why I'm not able to really put out content as fast as I used to, where I was pretty much working 4 hours a day, 2 days a week. I had all the time in the world to release content, but you know, life catches up with you. I gotta keep on moving and doing stuff. My goal though is to try to get everything in one place so that I can be able to make videos more regularly. Like I said, there will be a VOD out for this stream where I, of course, post the Tatsumaki reaction I did just now. I'll probably do a YouTube short about the omniversal Matsuki scaling, or not omniversal, what? Outerversal Matsuki scaling. And thanks to Super Bear Neo for this. This was, I'll be real, I went into it a little skeptical, but this was very well put together. I have no complaints about it. It was a little confusing. I had to read it twice, but I mean, it's a fucking Japanese translated light novel. It's gonna be confusing no matter how you put it because, you know, translate it from different language. But I have some VODs from this coming out. I'm gonna have some re-uploads from my old channel coming over to this one. For people that don't know about my old channel, I don't think anyone does, honestly. So that'll be new content technically, and then of course the One Punch Man, How Strong Is God video, which will be dropping tomorrow. But yeah, the scale is really good. If you if you haven't, I would recommend joining my Discord. And that applies to everybody in here. I usually post it every stream, so I'll post it again. The reason why I say join the Discord is because I'm trying to make it so that people can post their own scaling and all that stuff in there. Discord has a new feature where you can pretty much do like kind of like Reddit forum posts. The reason why I say I want people to post in there is because I kind of want to make my own, not even my own, our own personal alternative to places like Versus Battle Wiki, Universal Battlegrounds, character stats, and profiles. Because I feel like we as individuals are way more consistent than groups of people who band together to either raise up or debunk characters that they might like or might not like, or stuff like that. I think the bias can be removed when you put a group of people together that don't have that same preconceived bias or reasons to feel that way. I'm a One Punch Man YouTuber for the most part, but nobody kisses my ass or tells me what I want to hear. They're gonna post their own feelings on power scaling, on certain chapters and all that. And I think it's good to have an audience like that. So I'm gonna post a Discord. I definitely recommend anybody in the stream to join. When it comes to Discords, this one is completely drama free. I'm probably jinxing myself, but I haven't had any problems in this Discord at all. It's kind of crazy. I haven't had to ban anybody. I haven't had to do anything like that. Everybody's just chill. I'll post that. If you guys have any scaling that you've done, any power scaling questions, or just want to put a versus battle for other people to respond to, there are threads to that in there. Of course, there's a general chat, video discussion. We do tier lists, all that good stuff. I also post every chapter of One Punch Man that drops, and of course, you also get linked every video and stream when it comes out. So yeah, it's definitely something to look forward to doing, and obviously it's free, so there's no point not enjoying it. But I'm gonna end today's stream. Appreciate everybody who did show up and everybody who's looking at the VOD. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you guys on Discord or in tomorrow's video.